Now, class problem 4 was about two guys that wanted to, fool around with regression with something new that they learned. So what they did was keep track of their spending for food, and then looked at the number of nights that they were in the dorm. Okay, and you can see they kind of, let's see, December would be a low month because break starts and they're gone. November has Thanksgiving. All right, so you can kind of see how that makes sense. May isn't a full month either, but April would be a full month. So the first thing you want to do is do a scatter plot of it, and you look at it, and these numbers are all over the place. And there are a lot of different ways you could draw a line. I guess something like this, but you've got big outliers here, and probably a pretty big standard deviation. So this is big, but that's what it looks like. So the next thing they wanted you to do was to run a regression model. And this is our model. This is how it comes out, and this was one of the first ones that we did to evaluate the regression. And now it should be old hat to you. It should be pretty good. In order to look at the goodness of fit, we've got the R-square, and the R-square is 0.07. And what that tells you that it's far below any kind of standard, and that it won't be a good fitting line because it doesn't explain that much of the relationship between x and y. Okay, so this is 0.07. We want it to be higher. The book has a threshold of 0.30, but you want to remember that it depends on the area. It isn't anything that there's no rule like that for R-square. The next question is the significance of the slope. To look at the significance of the slope, we go to the number of nights, and it's got a p-value of 0.467. We want a p-value of at least 1.9. Oh, statistics, sorry. 0.76. We want a p-value of at least 1.96. All right, so it doesn't make that. And then when you look at your p-value, the p-value is 0.46. So this tells you that there's over a 46% chance that this will predict the wrong number. Okay, so that's not so good. We wouldn't want it. And remember that the intercept, all of these numbers, we just don't care. They're not relevant. We're not going to use those at all. Yeah. Okay, so if I make those just a little grayer, maybe I'll just change the color. You just want to remember that those aren't anything that we're going to look at. Okay? And then what else do we need to know? Oh, economic plausibility. I mean, there's some logic to the idea that the numbers would increase with more days, but there are a lot of other variables in there, like how often do they eat with the other roommates' parents, when do they bring food to them, just things like that, and how many nights do they go out, etc., etc. And what else did I want? There's one other thing. Oh, if we look at the standard error here, you can see the coefficient for nights is 3.149. That's your variable cost, right? This 259 would be the intercept. That's what we're going to call fixed cost. But the standard error is greater than the coefficient. So that's a lot of variation. It's really a lot. And that's why our p-value is so high. Okay, we're looking for something like 5% or lower at this point. Okay? I think that's about it. All right, if you take a look at the worksheet, all the answers are here for this. Okay, these are some of the other reasons why this wouldn't work. But what's fun about doing these things is that it really does depend on your own creativity and how well you know the business and where those numbers could come from. Okay, what would make the most sense. Alrighty.